Artificial intelligence is all around us, and a lot of the time, we don't even see it working. It's behind the scenes making these massive judgments that could decide if you get that next job, a loan for a house, or even the kind of medical care you receive. So the big question is, how much can we really trust its decisions? And I'm not talking about some far-off sci-fi future. This is happening right now. An algorithm could be making a call that completely changes your path in life. And yeah, these systems promise to be super fast and efficient, but they come with these hidden risks, and that's exactly what we need to talk about. Just think about the really big moments in your life. An AI might be the one scanning your resume, figuring out your credit score, or even assessing your health risks. Get this. In one real case, a system for screening tenants used old data that ended up unfairly denying housing to way more Black and Hispanic applicants. We're not talking about small calculations here. These are absolutely life-altering judgments. And that really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? We've handed over a ton of power to these automated systems, but are they actually fair? Are they free from the same human biases we've been trying to fight for? Well, forever. So let's talk about what happens when these automated decision makers mess up. Because the consequences aren't just theoretical. They have a real, tangible, and honestly, sometimes devastating impact on people's lives. Let's look at a few examples. These examples show you just how specific and strange these failures can be. Can you imagine being denied essential pain medication because some algorithm got your prescription mixed up with your dog's? It actually happened. Or take the Compass system, which was used in U.S. courts. It turned out that it was twice as likely to falsely label Black defendants as being at high risk of reoffending compared to white defendants. These aren't just little glitches. These are systems that are actually learning and then amplifying our worst real-world biases. Okay, so why does this keep happening? Well, a huge part of the problem comes down to the very nature of how a lot of modern AI works. People in the field have a name for it. They call it the black box problem. And this image right here really gets to the heart of it. We can see all the data we feed into the AI, and we can see the final decision that pops out, but the whole process in the middle, it's often a complete mystery. Even the super smart engineers who build these things can't always tell you the exact logical path the AI took to get to its answer. And this is what we mean by the black box effect. You've got these incredibly complex models like neural networks with millions, sometimes billions of tiny little parameters all interacting with each other. It's not a simple flowchart you can just follow along. And this lack of transparency is a massive problem. Because think about it, if you can't understand why a machine made a certain decision about you, how on earth can you challenge it? How can you fix it when you know it's wrong? Okay, so if the black box is the engine, what's the fuel? What are we putting into it? Well, in way too many cases, the answer is data that's already completely flawed. This brings us to one of the most fundamental rules in all of machine learning. Garbage in, garbage out. An AI system doesn't have its own moral compass or sense of what's fair. It's just a pattern-matching machine, and it learns by looking at the data we give it. So if that data reflects decades of historical discrimination, say in who gets hired for a job or who gets a loan, the AI will learn that discrimination isn't a bug, it's a feature. It'll see it as a successful pattern to copy. This case study from Amazon is the perfect and kind of scary example of this. So, they tried to build an AI to help screen resumes. They fed it 10 years of their own hiring data, but because the tech industry had historically hired mostly men, the AI taught itself that male candidates were just better. It actually learned to penalize resumes that had the word women's in them, like someone who was in the women's chess club, and it boosted resumes that used action verbs that were more common on men's resumes. Amazon ended up scrapping the whole project, but man, what a powerful warning. Okay, so the problem is pretty clear. We've got these mysterious black box systems, we're feeding them bias data, and it's leading to some really unfair results. So what are we doing about it? Well, the response is really happening on two main fronts. First, trying to establish some ethical rules, and second, trying to create new laws. All around the world, experts and governments are starting to agree on a set of core principles for what makes an AI trustworthy. Things like these from Australia's framework. First, fairness. The AI just can't discriminate unfairly, pretty basic. Then, transparency. You have a right to know when a machine is making a call about you. Third, accountability. Someone has to be responsible when it messes up. And finally, and this is so important, contestability. You have to have a way to raise your hand and say, hey, wait a minute, I think your algorithm got this wrong. Now, on the legal side of things, the world hasn't quite decided on one single way to do this. You've got the European Union, which has gone big with this huge comprehensive law called the AI Act. It actually rates AI systems by their risk level and completely bans the ones it considers an unacceptable risk. Then you have the US, which is taking a more scattered approach, kind of using existing laws for things like consumer protection and letting different government agencies make rules for their own specific areas. So we've got the ethicists and the lawyers working on the problem, but there's also a huge push coming from inside the tech world itself. Researchers are literally inventing new ways to build AI that is fairer and more transparent right from the start. So the big question is, can we actually engineer our way out of this mess? A massive piece of this puzzle is a new field called explainable AI, or XAI for short. This is the tech world's direct answer to that black box problem we were talking about. The whole goal of XAI is to build systems that don't just spit out an answer, but can actually show their work. They can explain the why behind their decisions. And XAI really works on two different levels. First, you've got the global explanation. That's the big picture. It helps us understand the model's overall logic, like, in general, what kind of candidates does this system like? But just as important is the local explanation. This is about one single decision. It's the AI being able to answer your very specific question. Why was my application rejected? That's absolutely key if you want to be able to challenge a decision. And XAI isn't the only tool in the shed. Researchers are also developing all these cool privacy-enhancing technologies. For instance, they can use something called synthetic data, basically creating fake artificial data to train AI models so they don't have to use our sensitive personal info. Or there's federated learning, which is a way to train a big central AI model without your raw data, like your photos or messages, ever having to leave your phone. The goal for all of this stuff is to build AI that's safer and more worthy of our trust. But here's the thing. Technology by itself is not a magic wand. As this quote from Kathy O'Neill puts it so well, this is ultimately about our values. We can't just hope that an algorithm will stumble upon the concept of fairness by itself. We have to decide what fairness means, and then we have to intentionally, explicitly build it into the code. And really, that's what this all boils down to. The finish line isn't just about creating a smarter AI. It's about creating a fairer AI. It's about making sure these incredibly powerful tools actually align with our deepest human values, like justice and accountability. The tech is moving at lightning speed, and this conversation, the one about how we choose to guide it, well, that's a responsibility that belongs to every single one of us.